Hello and welcome to Saki Tech. So in today's video, I'll be doing a complete spec comparison between the iPhone 5s and the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. So these are two major flagship devices from Apple and Samsung, and as you know, these guys love to fight with each other. So let's dive into some details really quick. Alright, so the most obvious difference between these two phones is the size. The Note 3 is a colossal titan compared to the iPhone 5s. It is 151 millimeters tall and 79 millimeters wide, whereas the iPhone 5s is 124 millimeters tall and 59 millimeters wide. Now the Note 3, for a huge phone, is quite a thin phone. It is only 8.3 millimeters thick, whereas the iPhone is 7.9 millimeters thick. And the iPhone 5s weighs at 112 grams and the Note 3 weighs at 168 grams. Now the next thing I want to talk about is the specs, the processor and the memory. So on paper, the Note 3 has monstrous specs compared to the iPhone 5s. However, we will run some benchmarks toward the end of this video to see how the processing and the memory power compare. But for now, let me detail the specs on each of these flagship devices. Samsung Galaxy Note 3 has a Snapdragon 800 quad-core processor clocked at 2.3 gigahertz. It's got 3 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM. You can get the Note in either 32 gigabytes or 64 gigabytes for storage purposes. Now the iPhone 5s has a dual-core A7 processor clocked at 1.3 gigahertz. It's got 1 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM, and it is important to note that the iPhone 5s runs a 64-bit processor as opposed to the 32-bit processor on the Galaxy Note 3. So just by looking at these specifications, you can tell that the Galaxy Note 3 has specs monstrously better than the iPhone 5s. However, as I said, we're going to look at some benchmarks in a minute and we'll see how they stack up against each other. Now, real quick, both of these phones have 4G LTE connectivity for high-speed connections. Alright, so let's see what kind of software these guys run on. The iPhone 5s runs on the latest version of iOS 7, and the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 runs on the latest version of Android 4.3 with Samsung TouchWiz overlay. Now, I usually don't like overlays, but TouchWiz brings some fantastic functionality and features, especially with the addition of the TouchWiz. Honestly, I can't bring myself to appreciate iOS 7 when I compare this to the feature-rich combination of Android 4.3 and TouchWiz. Samsung does an excellent job with TouchWiz so far. Next, let's take a look at build quality. So iPhone 5s delivers in build quality, just like the 5 before it. Now, other than the HTC One and HTC One Mini, I don't think there's any phone that feels as premium as the iPhone 5s as you hold it in your hand. When you hold this device, you know you paid good money for it. Now, the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 still sticks to an overall plastic material build. However, the back cover of the Note 3 now has a soft fox leather finish, which makes it feel more premium than the usual flimsy and glossy plastic back covers which we are used to on the prior Galaxy lineup. You do get the plastic trim around the edges of the device, which is rendered in silver color. And on the front side, you've got the Corning Gorilla Glass 3. Alright, so let's talk about the display the next. Another important comparison here would be the display size and quality. So the Note 3 is a huge phone and it sports a 5.7-inch display with a screen resolution of 1080p. That's a full high definition display, and you end up getting 388 pixels per inch. Compare that to the 4-inch display of the iPhone 5s with the 1136 by 640 for screen resolution and 326 pixels per inch. Now, everything on the Galaxy Note 3 will look better. There's no question about that. As for the camera, we have on the iPhone 5s an 8 megapixels rear-facing camera and a 1.2 megapixels front-facing camera. Galaxy Note 3 comes with a 13 megapixels rear-facing camera and a 2 megapixels front-facing camera. Galaxy Note can record 1080p using both the rear and the front cameras, but the front-facing camera on the iPhone 5s can only record in 720p. However, the rear-facing camera on the iPhone 5s can obviously record in 1080p. Okay, and let's talk about the battery. The Samsung Galaxy Note 3 has a 3200 milliamp hour battery, and the iPhone 5s has a 1570 milliamp hours battery. I have used these devices for basically the same functions for a couple days now, and I can tell you that you will get full day's worth without any problems. So how exactly did I use the phone? Well, I made phone calls, I listened to some music, I watched videos on YouTube, I did some text messaging, and I checked emails, I read some news in the Flipboard application, and I just was playing around with the phone out of boredom. So that actually lasted me for a full day, no problems, especially with the Galaxy Note 3. The iPhone never had a problem with the battery life, but the Galaxy Note series have had problems, but looks like that's been fixed with the larger battery. And then finally, I want to talk about some miscellaneous features here. We want to quickly mention that the Galaxy Note 3 does not come with a fingerprint sensor, and that the iPhone 5s does not come with a stylus. Now, in my opinion, the stylus is more useful than a fingerprint sensor. Now, the iPhone 5s comes in a gold, space gray, and black colors, and the Note 3 is available in jet black, classic white, and some kind of pink color. And that's the color options you have on each of these devices. Alright, so finally let's run some benchmarks. We're going to use the Geekbench benchmarking tool, and let's make sure nothing is running in the background. No recent apps on the Galaxy Note 3. And let's launch Geekbench 3. And for those of you who don't know, the Geekbench 3 benchmarking tool measures the processor and the memory power of devices across different platforms. So this is the perfect tool to measure iOS 7 and Android 4.3 and see how they stack against each other. So let's wait till this test is over, and we'll analyze the numbers afterwards. Alright, so it looks like the iPhone is done, and as you can see, the single core performance score is at 1412, and the multi-core performance score is at 2562. And the Galaxy Note 3 is almost done, and there we go. So the multi-core performance on the Galaxy Note 3 is superior to the multi-core performance on the iPhone 5s, but the single core performance is less than the iPhone 5s. And sometimes with the Android system, as you run these tests, you will get different results. But so far the highest I've gotten is the 2970 on the multi-core with the Galaxy S3. I'm sorry, the Galaxy Note 3. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this video. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more videos to come. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this video, and also you can go ahead and connect with me socially on Google+, Facebook, and Twitter, for which all the links are in the description below. Thank you again, and I'll see you the next time. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, just throw them down in the comments section below.